What is going on, you guys? This is DerekJ Speaks, and we are here to talk about WWE Friday Night SmackDown from August 20th, 2026, live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Of course, this show was highlighted by the big main event, the first time ever meeting in WWE and I think ever between CM Punk and Kevin Owens. And of course, if you've been paying attention to the show, if you've read things online, you know there is a long history, a very bitter history between Kevin Owens and CM Punk. And this is a match, this is a feud, this is a program that many people, myself included, have wanted to see play out on WWE television ever since Punk returned back in 2023. And with Kevin Owens coming back from his injury at SummerSlam, winning the number one contendership, and having a couple of weeks of really good promos between the two of them, we finally get the match here, and the match itself was really good. A very physical fight, very physical battle. KO was, look, maybe I got worked, but he looked like he was laying in some shots there. I'm sure there's a little bit of that, animosity still within him, and he just let it rain out there. Of course, being in Canada, Kevin Owens was the big conquering hero, and Punk, he did get some cheers early on, but there was a certain point in the match, especially as Punk was starting to target Owens' surgically repaired neck. Around that time of the match, that's when the fans really started to turn against him. He started talking a little bit of shit too to the crowd, and of course, hockey stuff. That's usually how Punk gets heat whenever he's in a crowd that doesn't necessarily like him all that much. So that was the case here. But I was liking the match here, and coming into this show, I pretty much had the feeling that CM Punk was going to retain the championship, and hated it. Really wanted to see Kevin Owens win here. Kevin is like 0 for 10 or 11 in world championship matches for the past, 10 years? A good chunk of those were all of his failed attempts at beating Roman Reigns for a couple of years there. But was really hoping that KO could pull out a championship win here, even if it was just a temporary run. But in the back of my mind, I had a feeling that KO was not walking out as champion, and it was because one name was standing out above the rest, that being Sami Zayn. And of course, we all know the history between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Friends, enemies, they flip-flop roles of heel and babyface so many times, it is not even really all that funny anymore. But had to know he was going to play a role in this match in some way, shape, or form. Of course, Sami is the victim of a conspiracy, justice for Sami, all that stuff. That played a role here in the finish, as we got the obligatory ref bump. The ref got hit and knocked out of the ring. Both men hit their finishers on one another, and the referee was not awake to count the fall for either one of them. And this brought out Sami Zayn. He came in from the crowd, and as Punk was on the outside on the floor checking on the referee, he shoved Punk into the, I don't want to say steel post, the big LED ring post, shoved him into that, shoved him back into the ring, and KO hit Punk with a stunner. Sami shoved the referee back in, and it was only good for a 2 count, which was a very, very good, very convincing near fall here. You had me fooled, you had the crowd fooled. They were very electric for this match, so mission accomplished there. They got that to work very well. But then Sami goes over and retrieves the championship belt, and he slides it in the ring for Kevin Owens to use on CM Punk. And Owens, he has the belt, he's revving up to hit Punk with it, but then he refuses, and he shoves the belt back at Sami, who's now standing on the apron. He's telling Sami, I don't want to do it this way, not this way. And then Sami takes the belt and proceeds to clock Kevin right in the head with it and knocks him out. Or at least knocks him out enough for him to fall right into the arms of CM Punk, who lifts Kevin up and hits him with the GTS and gets the 1-2-3, and CM Punk is still the WWE champion. Like I said, can't be too upset with a finish that I already kind of expected. This is more or less what I felt was going to be the outcome here. I thought coming into it that the finish might be a little bit more vague, up in the air, that Sami might have accidentally hit Owens with the belt or accidentally, unintentionally did something to cost Kevin Owens, and they would kind of tease the dissension. But we basically got to the exact same end point that I figured, which was Sami Zayn and his, heel victim role taking it out on Kevin Owens. And that's what happened here. And Sami wasn't done, because after the match, Punk is celebrating. He doesn't have the belt, of course, because it's with Sami. So when Punk is done posing, he turns around. Sami clobbers him in the head with the championship belt. And then he hits Kevin Owens one more time with it. And then he hits Punk again with it. And the show ended with Sami getting rained upon with boos as he is holding up the WWE Championship. So there you go. I can understand people being upset with this, not getting a clean winner. A lot of Kevin Owens fans really wanting to see him win the championship here. And quite frankly, I don't think this is going to end with him winning the championship. So with this finish, you can kind of think of it as going two ways. One, Punk could move on to someone else. Who that would be, I don't know, but he could move on in a different direction, fight somebody else, and this branches off into yet another Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn singles feud on the lower end of the main event scene. Or, what I feel like this is leading to is we are gearing up for a triple threat match. Because had it just been Sami costing KO, then maybe I would have bought into the idea that this would have been a one and done with Punk and Owens, and Punk would move on to somebody else, and Sami and Kevin would kind of do their own thing. But because Sami also attacked Punk in the match, and he attacked him with the belt after the match, and he was the last one standing over both men, I think it's fair to say that we are probably looking at a triple threat match. The question is, when are we going to get this match? As of now, as of recent check, I don't believe that CM Punk is scheduled for Sunday night's main event. Maybe he is. Or maybe, actually no, I think Money in the Bank, I think, is the show that he's not currently scheduled for. I thought, because I know WWE released his schedule for the next upcoming month and a half or so. And I know there was like a very specific big show date that was not on the schedule, and I thought it might have been Sunday night's main event, but actually thinking about it, it might have been Money in the Bank. But that's not until October anyway. So if Punk's gonna be available for Sunday night's main event, which is coming up in several weeks now, live in Atlanta, Georgia, we could see a triple threat for the championship on that show, and they can hash this out there. Punk is also going to be at the Worlds Collide show. That's the big WWE NXT AAA show that they're putting up against All Out at the end of September. Also in Chicago. Both events going to be in the same, well, near the same area. But nevertheless, I don't think this match will be saved for that show. I think if Punk is available for Sunday night's main event, we might get the triple threat there. If they want to hold off and wait until Money in the Bank, it just seems like that. I mean, that show's October 10th. It's already August 20th. That just seems like a very long ways away. But hey, that gives them plenty of time to build this story up and let it, take the twists and turns it needs to create some compelling television and really heat things up on the show, because God knows this show needs it. So, but I think that ultimately the triple threat match will come, and with that being the case, I mean, of course they could always put the belt back on Sami. I think those 9 days are all Sami's really ever gonna get with that championship. Could the end of this come and Kevin Owens does walk out as the champion, it's possible. And then he and Punk can continue their feud as a singles with Punk chasing him. Maybe Sami gets that KO first and we get Owens and Sami one-on-one for the WWE Championship. We have not gotten that yet, so that could be something, even if it's just for one show, one big show. That's certainly something, a direction that they could do. Again, of all the iterations that we've had in WWE of Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, I don't think they've ever main evented a show for the championship, so it's possible. But I don't know. I feel the same way about Kevin Owens like I did about Gunther several months ago, where that first shot is really the time to pull the trigger. And if they weren't going to do it right away here, I just don't see them doing it. I can see Kevin getting a few more shots, like I said, a triple threat, maybe even another singles match. He got screwed out of this one, so he would be entitled to a possible rematch down the line, one-on-one with CM Punk. But I just don't think that the direction is taking the belt off of CM Punk. More so, or less so, an issue of putting the belt on Kevin Owens, because there's no problem with that. I just think it's more a case of them wanting CM Punk to hold on to that championship for quite a bit. Will he hold on to it all the way into WrestleMania? Could they kind of put a distance between these two and circle back to it all the way at WrestleMania? I highly doubt it. If anything, I think they're going to circle back to CM Punk and Cody Rhodes for the championship at WrestleMania. I think that's going to be the direction there. So Kevin, if he can win that belt, it just might not be a very long run, but I don't see it. I'd love to see it. I really, really do. I like Kevin Owens. I'm very happy he's back. The shows have improved significantly with his addition to the show, but then again, the bar is in hell, so it's not like, it was a drastic change, and there's still issues with the show, but I do like having him around, and I would like to see him get a run with the championship. I don't know, something is telling me that it's not going to happen, but we'll see. And we'll see what direction they go in. Will it be a singles match? Will Punk get Sami one-on-one? I could see a situation like that where it's Punk and Sami. Maybe that's the match at Sunday night's main event. I know Sami has a legitimate hand injury, so I don't know if he'll be cleared or not, but maybe they do Punk and Sami. Kevin screws over Sami in that case, and then that leads to the triple threat. I'm not sure, but I do think the big outcome here is going to be all three men facing off in a big championship match at some point in the very near future. Or they might do similar what they did on this show and just have it be blown off on SmackDown. So that's definitely possible. And there you go. I mean, that was the main thing. This was a very clear one-match show. Coming into this show, this was the only thing that was the most heavily promoted and the only thing that really mattered, because when you look at the rest of the things that happened on this show, nothing else of great value or substance took place. We had the show open with, it opened with Sami and Nick Aldis backstage, but got interrupted by Randy Orton, and then Cody was out in the ring. They almost came to blows. That's how the previous week's show ended, with both men brawling and basically recreating the steel steps and chair spot from earlier this year heading into WrestleMania. But Nick Aldis laid down the law and told both men that they are not to put a hand on one another until their match at Sunday night's main event. And if they do, then neither man will be able to ever challenge for the WWE Championship ever again. Now, of course, that's complete bullshit, but hey, at least they tried to have Nick Aldis show some authority here and lay down the law. Even if you or I by no means can ever buy into the idea of Randy Orton or Cody Rhodes never again challenging for the WWE Championship, but at least they threw something out there, and now they can spend the next week or two building up to this match without them wrestling each other, and maybe we can rely more on promos, which we got on this show, and both men cut some very intense promos on one another, and I thought they did a good job. They're already doing a better job building up to this match than they did their WrestleMania match earlier this year, but once again, that bar was also in hell. So it's like it can only be better because it got bogged down by the whole Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll crap heading into WrestleMania this year. So with it just being the two of them, it can only be better. So I hope for their sake that they can keep this moving and can put on a really good match on that show because, again, they need it. We had a segment on this show where Trick Williams called out Baron Corbin and challenged him to a rematch for the US title. Of course, Corbin beat Trick at SummerSlam and beat him again in a rematch on SmackDown, but cheated both times, so Trick wanted his rematch. Corbin didn't come out with the ugly furry belt. He said that it's getting shaved, so hopefully the next time we see that championship, it'll be back to normal. But Corbin, while he initially refused Trick's challenge after getting attacked by Trick and Lil Yachty, who was back in Trick's corner on the show, Corbin laid out a challenge to a match for Sunday night's main event in Atlanta against Lil Yachty. And stipulation being that if Yachty can last 5 minutes in the ring with Corbin on that night, then Trick Williams will earn himself a rematch for the United States Championship. I have no interest in seeing another Saturday nights or Sunday night main event show built around a big celebrity involvement. We got that at the last one at Madison Square Garden with all the New York Knicks stuff, and now they're in Atlanta. That's Yachty's hometown, so it feels like, well, the entire show is not built around it, obviously, but this will be an attraction on the show that they'll build up. So, but I imagine, Yachty will get his ass kicked, but he'll still last the 5 minutes, and Trick will get his rematch, and Trick might even get the belt back. I'm not sure. I thought the reason that Corbin was still holding on to the furry belt is because Trick was going to hold or win it back soon, despite losing twice to Corbin. But if Corbin comes back with a brand new belt, are they going to really put it back on Trick only to then bring back the furry belt all over again? I'm not sure. So that remains to be seen. But I do think that Yachty will survive those 5 minutes. What else happened on this show? Oh, the women. Of course, the pride and joy of this show, the women's division. We had what was basically a squash match between Chelsea Green and Lash Legend that Lash won. Now, they were building up the whole fact that Tiffany got attacked the previous week. She lost her US title. She got some injured ribs at the hands of Lash Legend and Nia Jax. So that kind of played a role into why she didn't put up a whole big fight here, but still, a nothing match. Then, one of the other matches that they built up heading into this show was the debut, finally, the in-ring debut of Blake Monroe against Julia. And of course, the match never even started. Julia made her entrance, and she got attacked by Blake Monroe. No bell was rung. She hit her with the neutralizer, and that was it. And they posted on their social media with Blake cutting a promo into the camera saying how she is a championship fighter, and if you want to see me wrestle, if you want to see me, bring me Chelsea Green and give me a shot at the championship. That's what I'm here for. So I guess they're running the gimmick that she is not going to wrestle a match until she faces Chelsea Green for the championship, or whoever is the champion, whether it's Chelsea or not. They're going to keep Blake Monroe out of the ring and not have her actually wrestle until she is challenging for the Women's World Championship. Whatever. You very easily could have just done the match. I mean, they don't care about Julia anyway, clearly, so they could have just beat her, but didn't even want to have an actual match. So, it is what it is. What else happened on this show? Not a whole lot else happened on this show. At different points in the night, of course, Kevin Owens and CM Punk were each respectively backstage. They got approached by people like Randy and Gunther and Finn Balor. Gunther and Balor, they're starting something up soon. The MFTs, they retain their tag team titles over Damian Priest and R-Truth. And they showed another vignette of Nakamura with his new partner, the debuting Hiromu Takahashi, who of course signed with WWE several months ago. Thought he was going to NXT, but he is now on the main roster. They're pairing him up with Nakamura, and they have given him a new name of, I believe it's Kyoki, is how it's pronounced. That's how it was spelled, and I think that's how it's pronounced. So I'm sure we'll get endless matches of the two of them against the MFTs. I'm sure they're going to build up to Kyoki versus Tall Tonga as a big attraction match, I'm sure. And I know we're all excited for that one. So, like I said, the rest of this show, not very impressive, not all that good. This show lived or died based on what happened in that main event, and depending on your reaction to how that match ended, that will really determine your overall thoughts on the show. That's the only real thing I cared about heading into this show, and I didn't love the finish, but I understood why they did the finish, and if it sets up a big triple threat in the future, I think it'll be fine. Hopefully Kevin Owens can get that belt at some point, but I have very low expectations of that, and that's really all there is to it. Guess it's a good time as any to mention the fact that WWE let Ilya Dragunov go. His contract expired, but it's not like they did much to put up a fight to keep him because they didn't see much value in him. Ilya Dragunov spent the last several months out of the ring. This company is clueless. So hopefully they can do the right thing with the triple threat idea and eventually putting the belt on Kevin Owens. But I doubt it. This company let Ilya Dragunov slip through their fingertips. They're booking their women's division like crap. And these shows, while slight improvements are made here and there, it's still a struggle to get through and sit through the entire show from start to finish. Watching Raw and SmackDown these days from start to finish is a chore. But I did this one for you guys, so hopefully you enjoyed it. This quick little SmackDown review here. And next time I'm here to talk to you guys will very likely be about AEW. Their big all-in show from Wembley Stadium is coming up next weekend. So I'll be back to cover that show. So until next time, check you guys later.